Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Manchester United have reached an agreement in principle with Lokomotiv Moscow for Ralf Rangnick. Ralf Rangnick will be the interim manager at Manchester United for 6 months. So that will take him until the end of the season. Then after that, he will take a consultancy role for 2 years. Rangnick is the head of sports and development at Lokomotiv Moscow. Before, he's managed Schalke. He won the German Cup with Schalke back in 2011. He also got Schalke to the Champions League semi-final. He also managed RB Leipzig before, and he got them to the final back in 2019. So he's got a hefty CV. I think he will improve Manchester United. I think he will get the best out of these group of players. He develops young players well. And I think he could be capable of winning trophies. He will be in charge for the game against Arsenal next Thursday. Rangnick won't be in charge for the game against Chelsea because he's waiting for his work permit. So Michael Carrick will remain in charge for the game against Chelsea. Manchester United will appoint a permanent manager at the end of the season. Now, Mauricio Pochettino is Manchester United's #1 choice. Fabrizio Romano confirmed that earlier on this week. The other day it said PSG rejected Manchester United's approach to appoint Mauricio Pochettino. Prior to PSG's game against Man City, Pochettino came out and said that he's happy at PSG and he will not let the Man United rumours distract him. Earlier on this week, it said Mauricio Pochettino was interested in the Manchester United job, and the Manchester Evening News came out and said that Man United are confident of appointing Mauricio Pochettino as their next permanent manager. And it said Man United agreed to pay the 10 million compensation fee for Pochettino. Manchester United should have got Pochettino after the club sacked Mourinho, but the club decided to go with Solskjaer instead. Pochettino is a good manager, even though he's hardly won anything. He has won a cup with PSG. He has got a full season left on his PSG contract. He's proven in the Premier League as well, which is also beneficial because before he managed Tottenham, he almost won the league when he was at Tottenham. And he got Tottenham to their first ever Champions League final back in 2018. Analysing the vast majority of his tenure when he was at Tottenham, Tottenham were competing in and out of the top 4. And before he managed Southampton, he only enjoyed a short tenure with Southampton, but he still managed to guide Southampton to their highest finish in the Premier League. So they're the clubs he's managed in the Premier League so far, and before he managed Espanyol. If Manchester United don't get Pochettino at the end of the season, I think there's a good chance that we'll get Erik ten Hag from Ajax. I heard that Erik ten Hag is Manchester United's second choice. You've got to admire what Ten Hag has done at Ajax. You know, he's done a really good job. He's won some trophies with them. He develops young players good. And he's been Ajax manager for 4 years. Manchester United have sacked 4 permanent managers since Ferguson. You know, Manchester United sacked David Moyes after 10 months. He enjoyed the shortest tenure at the club. Man United finished 7th under the David Moyes era. That's the lowest we've finished in the Premier League era. Man United sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years or so. We did win the FA Cup under Louis van Gaal. And of course, Manchester United sacked Jose Mourinho after like 2.5 years. Mourinho did enjoy one good season at Man United because he won 3 trophies in his first season. But the reasons it didn't work out under Mourinho is because he had bad disputes with the board. Because obviously the board didn't recommend the signings that Mourinho wanted to recommend in. And Mourinho had bad disputes with the top players. And of course, Manchester United sacked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer last Sunday morning following the 4-1 defeat to Watford. Don't forget, Solskjaer did a farewell interview and he got emotional in that farewell interview. But Manchester United certainly made the right decision sacking Solskjaer. I don't think the club actually wanted to sack Solskjaer, but in the end, the club had no choice. You know, despite Solskjaer getting the sack last Sunday morning, all Manchester United fans still adore him, reflecting on what he's done for the club. You know, Solskjaer is a club legend. He always will be a club legend. Being part of the club for a long time, you know, Solskjaer endured 11 years as a player for Man United. He flourished under Ferguson's guidance. His most iconic moment as a player was when he scored the winning goal in the Champions League final at the Nou Camp back in 1999. Of course, he won the club the treble, and that is the club's greatest achievement. He won a lot of trophies as a player, did Solskjaer, so reflecting on that, he had a proven pedigree as a player. And Solskjaer, of course, endured almost 3 years as Manchester United manager. So that's 14 years in total. Ole had no proven pedigree as a manager, did he? Obviously, the clubs he's managed in his managerial career. He managed Manchester United's reserve team for a couple of years. He managed Cardiff. He endured a short tenure at Cardiff. The reason he got sacked from Cardiff is because he got them relegated. Ole also endured 2 spells at Molde. He won a few Norwegian titles at Molde, but they're not a big club. And of course, he managed Manchester United's senior squad. But reflecting now on he was Man United manager, he did gain some managerial experience and he learnt a few different things on the job. Manchester United paid Solskjaer around £7.5 million because revert back to the summer, he signed a 3-year contract with an option of a further year. Manchester United should have never given him that contract because I knew for a long time that he was not the long-term manager for Man United. But reflecting on the poor performances under Solskjaer, not all of the blame stemmed from Solskjaer. Yes, he was accountable for some things, like his tactics and his team selections were questioned a lot, but there was also players that had to take responsibility for those poor performances. You know, reflecting on the 4-1 defeat to Watford, Man United have lost 5 of their last 7 in the Premier League. But Man United responded well to the 4-1 defeat to Watford because we recently beat Villarreal 2-0. I did say though at the start of this season that this season was always going to be big for Ole. You know, this season was Solskjaer's 3rd full season as United manager. Obviously the pressure was on him at the start of this season, you know, reflecting on the summer transfer window Man United had this year, because Man United enjoyed a very good summer transfer window this year, you know, made 4 signings. 3 of the 4 signings were major signings, and Man United spent around £141 million. Plus, when Solskjaer was United manager, the board backed him well in this year's summer transfer window. You know, the Glazers backed him, Ed Woodward backed him. I think Woodward's leaving Man United in January. I heard Richard Arnold's replacing him as the CEO. It said back in April that Woodward is leaving Manchester United. That's when that European Super League came into the equation. But revert back to earlier on this season, he said Woodward was in talks with Man United to stay under a new role. Ed Woodward has had a 16-year association with the club. Darren Fletcher, he also backed Solskjaer as well, and our director of football, John Murtaugh, backed him. So in the end, Solskjaer ran out of excuses. You know, Solskjaer did not win a trophy as Manchester United manager, and I said he was never capable of winning trophies as manager. Manchester United have not won a trophy since 2017. It's like 4.5 years ago now. Ole knew when he'd taken over at Man United it was going to be a massive job. Not only a massive job, a difficult job as well, despite him knowing the club through thick and thin, because Ole was managing one of the biggest clubs in the world. But the expectations were far too high for Ole to exceed when he was United manager, and he basically was in a position that he shouldn't have really been in. You know, Ole did get appointed in as the interim manager in December 2018. You know, he was the interim manager for 3 months, did very well as the interim manager, so the club decided to give him the job on a permanent basis back in March 2019. You know, when Solskjaer was United manager, he signed 14 players, and Man United spent over £400 million under Solskjaer. Ole enjoyed like 5 transfer windows when he was United manager. Ole also got rid of a lot of players when he was United manager. He loaned players out and he got rid of players permanently. You know, in Ole's first full season, he got us to 3 semi-finals and a 3rd place finish. In his second full season, he got us to the semi-finals of the EFL Cup. He got us to the quarter-finals of the FA Cup. He got us to the Europa League final, and that was his first major final when he was United manager. But unfortunately, we didn't win it. And last season, he got us a 2nd place finish. Don't forget as well, when Man United had Solskjaer, they went on a 29-game unbeaten run away from home in the Premier League. So there you go. But like I say, we move on now from Solskjaer. You know, the new manager is Ralf Rangnick. Let's see what he can do. I presume he will do a better job than Solskjaer. Obviously, Ralf Rangnick, when he's official, he will be inheriting players who other managers have brought in. So obviously he'll be inheriting the players that obviously Solskjaer brought in. There's still some players here from the Mourinho era he'll be inheriting. You know, there's still some here from the Van Gaal era, but not that many. You've still got Mata here from the Moyes era, and there's Jones and De Gea still here from the Ferguson era. You know, Manchester United have got really, really good players. You know, in reality, Manchester United should be winning the Premier League this season, or at least competing for the league, because we've got a title-winning squad. Man United have not won the Premier League since 2013. But, you know, Man United have won 20 titles, and 13 of them are Premier League titles. But look who we've got in our team. You know, you've got Marcus Rashford. That's a good player. Rashford's still young. He's got a lot of development in him. Rashford didn't start against Villarreal recently, but he did come on and he made an impact. You know, he got some good runs in behind and he had a very good chance from a tight angle, produced a good save from the Villarreal goalkeeper. Rashford's done well in quite a few games since he's come back, but there's also been some games where he's been poor. At one point, Rashford was out with a shoulder injury for a while, and at one point he had to have an operation on his shoulder. Most of the time now, Rashford plays on that left wing. We need to keep him there because that's where he's mostly effective. Rashford's been part of the club for a long time. He's been a United player since the age of 7 and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. And Rashford's got a contract with the club till 2023. And then you've got Edinson Cavani. That's another good player. He initially lost his place in the team with the re-signing of Ronaldo last summer. Cavani's out with injury until December. He had an injury earlier on this season. It was back in May Cavani signed that 1-year contract extension. This season is Cavani's second full season at Man United. We got Cavani on a free transfer from PSG. You know, he won a lot of trophies when he was at PSG, so reflecting on that, he's got a decent pedigree behind him as a player, and he was also a long-serving player at PSG. I'm hearing that Barcelona are interested in getting Cavani next year. You've also got Mason Greenwood. That's a talented player. Greenwood's not available though at the moment. He's out with COVID. Greenwood won't be available to play against Chelsea this Sunday. Greenwood has scored 4 goals in the league so far this season. He scored a stunning goal in the 4-2 defeat to Leicester earlier on this season. Most of the time Greenwood plays on that right wing. There again, he played up top alongside Ronaldo in the 2-0 defeat to Man City. Quite clearly, the Greenwood and Ronaldo partnership, it doesn't work out. At one point, Greenwood went a while without scoring, but he made his senior debut for Man United back in 2019. He's been a United player since the age of 7, and last season, Greenwood signed a new 4-year contract with the club, reflecting on his good performances. And you've got Jadon Sancho, that's a decent player. He's been poor in most of his games so far for Man United, but he played very well in the 2-0 win against Villarreal recently. He was our best player. You know, Sancho scored his first goal for the club against Villarreal. Wasn't only the goal though, for every time he had the ball he looked threatening. He kept the ball well, he got into very good positions. And his movement was also good. It's his best game so far at United, like I've just mentioned, I think. So hopefully reflecting on that good performance that Sancho put out, he can build on that now and persist with them good performances. You know, we might start to get the best out of Sancho now that we've no longer got Ole. Because under Ole, you know, Sancho was played out of position, wasn't he? And that's why we weren't getting the best out of him. There again against Watford though, he was in the correct position. Under Ole though, there was quite a few games that Sancho didn't even play in. Let's put that into the equation. You know, Man United got Sancho in a deal worth 78 million with add-ons included. Man United paid 73 million up front. Sancho's got a contract with Man United till June 2026. There's an option of a further year. And Man United have got the best player in the world overall in Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo obviously played in the 2-0 win against Villarreal recently, and obviously he scored. It was a lovely chipped goal over the Villarreal goalkeeper, but Ronaldo's goal came from a poor clearance by the Villarreal goalkeeper. Ronaldo should have had another goal against Villarreal because he had a chance from a tight angle, just went wide. He also had a chance in the first half of that game. It was a header, but it was straight at the Villarreal goalkeeper. Ronaldo obviously got an assist in the 4-1 defeat to Watford, so he's got 2 assists so far since he re-signed, and he's scored 10 goals in all competitions so far since he re-signed. Ronaldo has got back-to-back awards, because back in October he got named Player of the Month, and back in September he got named Premier League Player of the Month. Ronaldo's got a contract with Man United till 2023. There's an option of a further year. He receives £480,000 a week, so he's the highest earner at Man United. Ronaldo wears that number 7 shirt, and we got him for 19.8 million with add-ons included. Man United paid around 7 or 8 million up front. Ronaldo's won 32 major trophies in his playing career, including 5 Ballon d'Ors. And then you've got Bruno Fernandes. That's also an exceptional player, but he has had poor games this season. Fernandes didn't start in the 2-0 win against Villarreal recently. Van Der Beek started ahead of of Bruno Fernandes in that number 10 against Villarreal. But we saw Fernandes come on against Villarreal, and he made an instant impact because he got an assist. It made up for his poor performances against Watford and Man City. Fernandes starts the vast majority of Manchester United's games, and he's been consistent in a lot of games for Man United. We got Fernandes from Sporting Lisbon back in January 2020. He has won awards reflecting on his good performances since he come to the club. He's been a United player for almost 2 years. Earlier on this season, Fernandes did make it clear that he wants to stay at Man United. And Fernandes has got a contract with the club until 2025. There's an option of a further 12 months. And you've got Donny Van Der Beek. That's also a very good player. Van Der Beek played well against Villarreal recently. He also made an instant impact when he came on against Watford because he scored. That's only his 2nd goal though for the club, and he got in some good positions as well, and he was trying to make things happen. So that just proves how good Van Der Beek is. I'm hopeful from now that he will get his opportunities that of course he's been demanding. When we had Solskjaer, Van Der Beek wasn't getting enough opportunities, and reflecting on that, he was frustrated. Well, not so long ago, Van Der Beek did confirm that he's leaving Man United in January. But he may be persuaded to stay if he gets his opportunities from now on under Ralf Rangnick. Man United got Van Der Beek for 40 million with add-ons included. Man United paid like 35 million up front. He's got a contract with Man United till 2025. There's an option of a further year, and he's versatile. He can play in 3 different roles. Van Der Beek has been a United player for around a year and a half, 19 months now. This season is his 2nd full season at the club. Pogba, he's a good player as well. He's not only a good player, he's an imperative player. He's Paul Pogba. Pogba did enjoy a good start to the Premier League season. So far, Pogba's got 7 assists so far in the league this season. And he produced good performances for Man United in the last couple of months of last season. But at one point last season, he was out with a thigh injury for a while, and he has sustained some ankle injuries at Man United before. Pogba's not available at the moment. He's out with a thigh injury. He's missing the rest of 2021. Pogba got the thigh injury in France training earlier on this season. Well, it said earlier on this season that Man United are prepared to sell Paul Pogba in the January transfer window. Well, it makes sense to cash in for him in January rather than let him go on a free next summer. Pogba's current contract at Man United expires next summer. Before the start of this season, he rejected a new Man United contract offer. At the moment, Pogba receives around 290 grand a week on his current contract. So he's one of the highest paid players at the club. Pogba's had a long-running transfer saga. He's been relentlessly linked with Real Madrid. His former club Juventus have been in for him. He enjoyed 4 good years at Juventus before he rejoined Man United. PSG have been in for him before. Barcelona have been in for him. He did mention earlier on this season that Pogba was offered to Barcelona, and Inter Milan have been in for him before. Pogba's agent, Mino Raiola, he's been working hard now for quite some time to get his client to move away from the football club. This season is Pogba's 6th season at Man United since he rejoined. Man United paid $89 million for him, so reflecting on that, he's our most expensive signing at the moment. And he's won 3 trophies at the club so far. You've got Alex Telles, that's a good left back, but I haven't really had much of a perception on him at Man United because he doesn't really get in the team. Telles will only play when Luke Shaw's not available. Obviously, Telles played ahead of Luke Shaw against Villarreal because Luke Shaw wasn't available. Luke Shaw's been out with a head injury. He sustained the head injury in the 4-1 defeat to Watford. But revert back to Telles, Telles put a good performance out against Villarreal recently. He showed good attacking intent, he got in some good positions, and defensively he was good, and he put some good crosses into the box. Telles was out with injury earlier on this season. The reason we brought Telles in was to provide competition for Shaw. Man United got Telles in a deal worth $15.4 million from Porto with add-ons included. Like I said, Luke Shaw's a good left back overall, but he has certainly not proven how good he can be so far this season. Luke Shaw's been terrible this season. I'm shocked in that aspect because last season Luke Shaw was superb. So where is the Luke Shaw from last season? Luke Shaw's been Man United's first choice left back for a while, and he still remains our first choice left back despite the arrival of Telles. He is injury prone, Shaw, which is a concern, but I still think he's had a pretty good career at Man United. Shaw's been at Manchester United for 7.5 years, so he's been a long-serving player, and Shaw's got under 2 years left on his contract at Man United. And you've got Harry Maguire, that's a okay centre-half. He hasn't really proven though how much of a good centre-half he can be at Manchester United because he's been inconsistent in a lot of games for Man United, but he's had some good games as well. But Maguire has been absolutely abysmal so far this season, and he's been even worse since he came back from that calf injury. As you all know, Maguire got sent off in the 4-1 defeat to Watford, so Maguire is suspended. He's got a 3-match ban. He seems to get the best out of Maguire when he's alongside Varane, but when he's alongside Bailly and Lindelof, he don't seem to get the best out of him. Man United overpaid for Maguire, paid 80 million was it for him? From Leicester, so he's the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment and the second most expensive signing at the club. And then you've got Varane. That's a good centre-half. Varane, though, has already endured 2 injuries since he signed for the club. You know, Varane is out with a hamstring injury at the moment. You know, he's out for another, 2 to 3 weeks. He had a groin injury earlier on this season, and he was out with that groin injury for a few weeks. But before he got these injuries, you know, he did well in some games. He's had a couple of games where he's looked off the pace. You've got Eric Bailly, you know, that's a good centre-half as well. But Bailly doesn't get regular game time, does he? You know, Bailly's only made 3 appearances so far this season. Bailly lost his place in the team a while ago, obviously with the signing of Varane in the summer transfer window, and obviously Lindelof's been preferred to Bailly. Don't ask me why, because Bailly is a far superior centre-half to Lindelof. You know, Bailly's in contention to play on Sunday against Chelsea, obviously with Varane being injured and Maguire being suspended. It will be Bailly alongside Lindelof as centre-half. My element of concern about Bailly is injury prone, obviously. And towards the end of last season, he signed a new contract with Man United until 2024. There's an option of a further year. Bailly's been at Manchester United for 5.5 years. We paid £30 million for him from Villarreal back in 2016. Yeah, you've got Bissaka. That's a very good right back defensively, but the attacking side of his game is not so good. And obviously you've got David De Gea. That's a very, very good goalkeeper as well. De Gea deserves credit because he's done really, really well so far this season. And De Gea did well recently in a 2-0 win against Villarreal. He made some world-class saves. He also did well in the last league game against Watford, even though we lost 4-1, because De Gea saved 2 penalties in that game against Watford, and he made some other good saves as well. So in a way, I think we made the right decision letting him reclaim the number 1 spot back last summer. So there you go. There is good players at Manchester United. The players I think that are going to leave the club next year, you know, I think Martial's going. I think Cavani's going, like I've mentioned. I think Mata's going. I think Lingard's going. Not too sure about Van Der Beek. If he doesn't still get enough opportunities under Rangnick, yeah, I think he'll go. Matic, I think he's going next year. Good chance Pogba will go. Did I mention Lingard? Telles, I think he's going next year. I think Jones and Bailly going next year. I think Dalot's going next year. And I think Dean Henderson will be going out on loan because Dean Henderson doesn't get his opportunities now. Because like I said, De Gea reclaimed that number 1 spot back. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop me comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.